Put your final product, somewhere in a store. I got this container with a lid. It makes a lot. You can make half the recipe. You can make it softer if you want by lowering the cooking time. All in all, very delicious and great for bringing to events.
Alright, so here's the recipe we're going to be using. I've received this one from my aunt. I received a picture of it, so this is the picture of the picture. I have no idea where the recipe originally came from, unfortunately, so I can't be linking it. I might link it below, or you can just refer back to this picture. If I do link it, it'll be a catbox.mo link. So, this recipe, relatively simple. We're not going to be using walnuts. I find it tastes better without. What we will be using, however, is very simple ingredients. Cup of butter, about 16 ounces or a package of brown sugar, 2 cups of half and half, and some corn syrup. We'll also be using vanilla. Now, quick thing on the corn syrup, use whatever corn syrup you want. It really doesn't matter. I prefer it darker. I know the recipe says light, but I recommend darker. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Please use artificial. I believe that natural vanilla is more likely to not carry through taste-wise due to the high temperature. I could be wrong. You're free to prove me wrong, but I personally would suggest using artificial vanilla. You could try using vanilla paste if you have actual vanilla beans to scoop out, but for the cost, I would go with the artificial. Now, I cooked this to about 248 degrees Fahrenheit or about 120 degrees C. It could be that my thermometer is not as accurate as it could be. It could be that I had heat transfer from my pan. I'd recommend cooking it a couple degrees less in Celsius. So I recommend 244 Fahrenheit or about 118 Celsius when you're doing this. Just something to keep in mind. Also worth noting, when it comes time to line the pan, I do mention this. You can use butter and aluminum foil, but don't just use butter. Please, please, please make sure that you aluminum foil your pan, and that it's your call whether or not you want to butter it. If your aluminum foil is big enough that you can do it in one sheet with no wrinkles, this is ideal. It makes it easy to pull the aluminum away. Otherwise, it could be worth buttering. That's about it. I'm going to get into the recipe here.
Okay, so we're going to get a relatively large pot heating. I think that this might be an inappropriately sized pot, but it is what it is. To this pot, about 1 cup of butter is going to be added. Give me a second here. With one hand, I'm grabbing my butter. I didn't unwrap it. The GoPro has been purchased and will arrive sometime in the near future. I'm hoping within the next week or so, but for now, I'm going to put this out. Okay, so that's the butter. You just want to melt it. You don't need to brown it or anything. Just do it over relatively low heat. So you can see here I've got it set relatively low. I'll lower it. I'm in no rush. I'm going to collect the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so the butter's melted. At this point, you're going to add your 2 cups and a fourth, or about a 16-ounce package of brown sugar. I've got that here. That's going in. Very nice. Then you've also got to put in your 1 cup of corn syrup. Then you've also got to put in about 2 cups of 10% cream. I don't know how adding a higher percentage of cream would affect the recipe. I would assume it's creamier, but it also might affect the emulsion if it's got higher fat content. I would not do lower. Let me put it that way. Higher, like maybe 18%, you can maybe try, but I would not do lower. Absolutely not. So you do the half and half after you do the corn syrup to try to loosen what's left of it that's stuck to the edges of the cup here. So that's just under 1 cup of the half and half. Just pouring the other one. Just pouring some more of that corn syrup out. And then the last little bit to finish it off, because I did a little bit under 2 cups there, just kind of want to spill. Okay. So once again, that's 2 cups and a fourth of brown sugar, 1 cup of corn syrup, and 2 cups of half and half. You can lose a little bit of the corn syrup. Now, you're going to want to whisk this up, and you're going to want to continue whisking this for the foreseeable future, up until the point where it starts to boil. You're going to take your heat, you're going to turn it up to medium or so. You don't want the sugar to burn. What you want here is you want the water to slowly evaporate from the solution. So you're going to want, if I haven't mentioned already in the recipe preamble, as I'm recording this now, what you're going to want is you're going to want a candy thermometer. This is very important. I'm not sure if I will have brought this up. I probably will. But you're going to want a candy thermometer. And mine's broken. Mine's old. The battery's about to die, and I'm hoping it doesn't today. But you're going to want to have the the candy thermometer basically just monitoring this. You're either going to cut this process off at 248 Fahrenheit or 120 Celsius. It's the same temperature, just a different measuring system. Now, you might say, oh, well, water boils at 100 degrees. You're right, but the less water there is in solution, the higher the temperature at which it boils, right? So you're going to initially want to bring it up to 100, and then as the steam rises up, there's going to be less and less water in the solution, but it's also going to become more and more prone to boiling. So as the water evaporates off, this would raise the boiling point up until the point where it could eventually reach our desired temperature of 120 degrees C, which I believe is the hard ball stage of cooking sugar. I'm just trying to make sure this all mixes in here. I want it to become a homogeneous solution. That's the goal here. We don't really want them to be super separated here. Now, I don't have a thermometer in here right now, but I know for a fact that's not 100 because A, it's not boiling, and B, I just put everything in here. There's no way, right? So, just mix it until it becomes a homogeneous solution, and then go to the next step here, okay? Okay, just gonna hop in real quick, talk about the corn syrup. So, I use this no-name corn syrup. It's not a light corn syrup like the recipe suggests. It's actually relatively dark. This is due to the addition of blackstrap molasses. It's very cheap, but for a recipe like this where you really want to taste the brown sugars and whatnot, this is a great choice. If you're in the US and you don't have no frills or no-name products, I would probably recommend using Karo syrup, Karo. That would be my recommended alternative for this recipe. It is a little bit pricier, but it's quite good. With regards to advanced prep, you're going to want to take a 8x8 by 2 or a 9x9 by 2. You can do an 8x8 by 1.5 or a 9x9 by 1.5, doesn't really matter too much. But you're going to want to line it with aluminum foil. Now, you could use butter, but if it does stick, you have no way of getting that caramel out of the pan. And it's not going to come out nicely. So I highly recommend doing it in aluminum foil so you can lift it out and cut it however you'd like. It is going to be relatively tough caramel, but yeah, use aluminum foil. You can butter the aluminum foil if you really want to help release. It does sometimes stick to the aluminum foil on the edges. Tin foil is also fine, just something that you can lift it out of the tray with. It won't be affected by super hot temperatures, so no wax paper, please. Nothing like that. Alright. Okay, super quick update. I'm sitting at about 90 degrees, 30 under where I need to be, and rising. I can't record for long because I need to whisk this, and just keeping an eye on your thermometer, it hits 120. Remember to prep a teaspoon of vanilla extract in advance. So, I don't have my thermometer in right now, but you should, because you're not going to have a camera in your hands recording. So, you really, really want to be making sure that this stays moving. You want to make sure nothing sticks to the bottom and burns. As mentioned earlier, use this metal pot so that you can use a metal whisk. It's probably better for high temp applications, especially if your whisk is not made of silicone as a non-stick. Anyway, yeah, keep whisking, keep your thermometer in there, and get ready to pull it off when it's 120. When it hits 120, you are immediately going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla, right after taking it off heat. I recommend using artificial for this instance. mainly due to having less volatile compounds and less likely to evaporate off, as far as I'm aware. And then you're going to pour the whole thing after whisking directly into your pre-metaled pan, or pre-lined, whatever you'd like to call it. It's a relatively precise process, so I'm going to stop the recording and put the thermo in. Alright, we're at about 104 degrees now. The mixture is really thickened up. I believe that this would make a very soft, like, caramel drizzle if you were to use it for ice cream. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I memorized my, my candy points. Candy temperature points. I forget what they're called. Crack points. It's been forever. Anyway, point is, this is shaping up nicely. Once again, I'm going to end the recording so that I can put the thermometer back in. So it's been about 20 minutes at this point. I expect it to be another 10. Friendly warning, candy burns. It sticks to your skin, it burns, and it continues to burn. If you get candy on your skin, please put your hand under the sink immediately. Very cold water. Do not try to peel the candy off immediately. It will just stick to your skin and continue burning. Very dangerous stuff. It's not like water, it won't run off. Just keep that in mind. Right, checking in. I'm at about 116, about 4 degrees off where I need to be. You really want to be taking it slow here. You can see I got my burner really low. You don't want to overshoot and you don't want to burn. It's very important. You just take it slow once you're within 5 degrees or so, because it could be your thermometer's taking time to catch up. Okay, I've just hit 120. It shot up about 4 degrees in a second. I've taken it off heat, just stirring to make sure it doesn't burn. That's why you got to pay attention to the thermometer. It jumps quickly. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla here. Okay, teaspoon of vanilla. Now a lot of that is going to come off. If you're using natural vanilla, even more of it would evaporate. But you just want to make sure that's mixed well and good. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pour it into our dish here. I need 2 hands for that, so you will not get to see it, unfortunately. GoPro's still in the mail. Okay. So, we have our finished pan of caramel. Scraped out the pot using a spatula. Now, due to the involvement of butter in the recipe, take a look here. The stuff comes off super easily, especially with a I can't even scoop it. Look at this. Just slips right off. And that's due to the silicone, but also due to the butter slightly coming out of solution to create a very slippery interface for whatever you're doing. Okay, I'll use for 2 hands later. I'm just going to eat it. I had 1 piece already. It's delicious. Creamy caramel. Buttery, you can taste the vanilla, it's great. I will come back when I'm ready to cut it. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to salt half of it. So, I don't know if you can tell, but I've added a little bit of salt. Just going to add a smidgen more. Just at this edge. So, I've added just a sprinkling of salt right about there. Just a little bit less than the middle. It's been about 20 minutes into cooling at this point. If you like a little extra salt with it, this will be nice. If you don't add it. I'll give my preference on what I prefer after. It's been a while since I made this. Ideally, you should be using flaky salt, but I don't have that. I have kosher. I know, it's a genuine tragedy. But this needs to cool probably for a couple hours. It holds the heat super duper well, and you don't want to cut it when it's still soft. It doesn't look hot, but it really is. I got a window open trying to get airflow to cool the base, but it's still just brutally hot. Once it cools enough that you can hold it pretty comfortably, you can move it to the fridge to speed up the cooling process. Do watch out for condensation though. Alright, so the caramel is cooled. It's been about an hour and a bit in the freezer. Went over to work on my neighbor's chicken coop. So it's going to be a little hard to get off, but it should come relatively loose without too much issue. I'm going to put the phone down, I'll let you know how long it took. Okay, so we got our updated block of caramel. Okay, so we got our updated block of caramel. This is the salt side. I'm gonna separate it. This is the non-salted side. We'll chop it up real quick. Alright, this is the final product. Very hard, slightly crunchy, but then becomes soft caramel. Crunches in your mouth, then it becomes very sticky directly after. This is probably due to heat from the mouth heating it up. Here's the finalized product. It's a lot of caramel to eat yourself. Bring it to events, real people pleaser. Remember, it's for mostly sucking on until it gets soft. If you want your caramel softer to start, either keep it at room temperature. Make sure to seal it with a lid. Don't let moisture in. I can't eat this all myself, so I'm going to be giving some to my neighbors. Just in, a reused cup. Alright. Enjoy. Happy cooking.